Good day, and you are once again welcome. Today our reflection topic is in all things, and we are looking at part A of the message. Our key text is taken from Romans 8:28 that says, and we know that in all things. God's promise in this text is a very, very powerful promise. And it's one that I have graciously experienced its reality over and over and over again in my life. And it really deserves our very close and deeper consideration. The first thing to note as regards this promise is that it is in all things, whether it is good or bad. In all things. When good things happen to us, it is very easy for us to realize and acknowledge God's goodness, kindness to us. Sometimes we even take credit for them and flaunt them in pride and arrogance, boasting of them as our achievements. I like to tell people how the latest things that we have been able to do in life. However, we often ask God why when negative things happen to us. And we even often blame God, especially for not preventing those negative things from happening to us. It is very, very difficult for us to realize and believe that God can work out negative things in our lives for our good and for the glory of His name. But when God promises that in all things, He really, really means it. In all things. I personally have so many testimonies of God working together for my good and the glory of His mighty name. Very, very negative incidences in my life, including my failures, my sins, and even in some such situations, even death. Many others have such testimonies. Take, for example, when our first mother gave birth to me, the sixth child of the family, through a surgery performed by a suspected quack Pakistani doctor. She died only 3 days later. No one gave me a chance to live. I was literally almost cut into pieces, and so was born in a pool of mine and my mother's blood. My father, Reverend Dr. Panya Baba of blessed memory now, described that day of our first mother's death as the darkest hour of his life. Another landmark incident was when in 1981 I failed my School of Basic Studies SBS of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria exams. As a very, very ambitious young teenager then, I felt it was better for me to have died and be buried than for me to fail at such critical level after strings of unbroken academic successes in primary and secondary school. But it turned out to be the reason for my very first encounter with God's powerful promise of this text, Romans 8:28. When my elder sister, Mrs. Lois Joshua McCory, used it to counsel me. When she saw how terribly dejected I was after that XBS exam failure, I remember her telling me, let this failure draw you closer to God. And one day you will give testimony of this failure with laughter. After her counsel, I just told God, look, God, if I come to you now and I'm more serious in my relationship with you, people will say it's because I am a failure. Look, just help me overcome this failure, and I will come to you, and everybody will know that it is willingly that I'm coming to you, and not because I need you, because I am a failure. It is very amazing to know how God turned around these very negative, bad incidences in my life for good, and for the good of my family and the glory of His mighty name. Have you experienced, or are you passing through very negative experiences in your life? Remember that God has promised that in all things, whether good or bad, in all things, I pray that whether you are passing through very pleasant experiences, and especially if you are passing through very terrible, negative, bad experiences, that you will not turn away from God, but instead you will turn to God and seek His help and intervention in your own case, in Jesus' most powerful name. Amen.